Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your boy, it's the Don, it's the Godfather, it's the future Hall of Famer, here with some special guests, but not only just some special guests, some highly cultured, intelligent individuals who choose to stand the right character at the right time. I have with me Sister Joygirl here with the Sanji Swirl representing our GOAT,
Yeah.
and of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who put me on the path, King of Lightning. Happy to have you here, my boy. Thanks, guys, for joining. How you guys feeling?
Pretty good, brother Jay. Pretty good. No doubt about that. Oh yeah. Been a good couple of days, weeks. Hell yeah. Woof.
It's been a
I'm
great
great,
time.
thanks Joe. Thanks for having me. I really need to say this up front. I'm a Sanji stan, but I'm also just a general Straw Hat fan, which is what I was warning these guys about earlier. So I love Sanji, but I love the Straw Hats in general. So I don't know if you guys are gonna kick me off, but I'm happy to talk about Sanji.
Oh, absolutely. And we
Oh,
know
you're
that,
good. You're good.
there's
You're
nothing
good.
wrong with that. We all love the Straw Hats here to a certain degree. There's obviously one that we won't name, but
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Not
all
today.
love the
No,
Straw
sorry.
Hats. But, a lot of people think I'm a Zorro hater, which it wounds my spirit because I love Zorro. You should know I love Zorro. The only issue I have is just with their fans. That's it. It has nothing to do with Zorro. Nothing. But this week has been, honestly, these last 2 weeks, I never thought that Oda would take Sanji in this direction where he's giving him a big importance. Like, he's establishing him as this is the number three. It's Luffy, Zoro, and then Sanji, the two wings of the Straw Hats. And on top of that, he's getting what was set up in Whole Cake Island with the Germa genes and the exoskeleton and his family past, and then Queen, him fighting Queen, and Queen being tied to Mads and Vegapunk and Judge. It seems like Sanji's backstory and past is going beyond Whole Cake, and it's actually going to carry on because, King, when I was watching your reaction, you mentioned something specifically about Sanji reconfronting his family.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think that was a very interesting point because it didn't come into my mind that now that this is here, it's almost like destined that he's going to reconfront his family. So I want to get into that topic a little bit later because a lot of people are questioning, his mother's sacrifice and whether it's been spoiled because of this exoskeleton thing. So we can harp on that there. But
All right, true.
But for now, and we can start with Joy Girl. What are your initial thoughts based on what you've seen from Sanji, basically from the moment he started fighting Queen till now? Because we already got the Black Maria stuff sorted. But how are you feeling about Sanji now?
I mean, I'm just super excited because what I love is that I'm not too sure if I'm the only one that thought this. Like, I don't know how you guys felt about it, but going out of Whole Cake Island, I've always maintained that I didn't actually need to see Sanji have his genetic modification. I quite liked the Whole Cake Island arc, the fact that the modifications didn't actually didn't have an effect, that Sanji didn't get a physical power up in that way. I wasn't actually mad about it. I liked what that meant for Sanji's character in terms of his character development, and I kind of liked, and I know we'll talk about this, with Sora's sacrifice a little later, but I liked what it meant about Sora's sacrifice as well. But I loved the way that this was being pulled off in this chapter because even more so than the physical aspects of it, I love that Oda is still continuing to develop Sanji's characterization. The fact that this is now, the power's there. He has that power. He's got the exoskeleton now. It's all there. But what it's really, there's no, further struggle, need to unlock it. But what the struggle now is that he's going to have to deal with his emotions about receiving a power up from Judge and, the fear of becoming a monster like his siblings. There's still room for character development, which is what I think Oda really seems to focus on with Sanji. But then now the power is just there, like, as a bonus. So I'm just super excited to see what that's going to do in terms of like the exoskeleton itself as well. I know that we have dealt with the whole Black Maria section, but I think it's necessary to talk about it again because I think this is where the exoskeleton stuff can come in really handy, is when he's fighting against women. When he doesn't actually have the will to fight against women, he's at least not going to get like beaten up because he's got that exoskeleton there.
That's a very good point. I did not think about that at all. Wow.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, it really is. It's amazing, honestly. I mean, I think ultimately, right, when it comes to Sanji in the post time skip, Whole Cake Island, even though like Zoe potentially, like Oda's taking like a lot of liberties to really make Sanji, like I think he's kind of changed Sanji's position now, where Sanji, he still does have the sort of at times the undercover assassin suave thing to him. But Sanji, in a lot of respects, has become more and more over the course of the time skip as like a leader. We've seen like lead certain groups of people across the entire the time skip. And then I think what we're getting here with Germa is kind of leading up to something big come the end of the series, because I think ultimately my biggest theory with Sanji is that he is going to wind up subjugating his own family. He will ultimately lead them. And I think Oda's kind of making that transition over to that. And part of the reason why I think this whole German thing has to happen with his whole body is because that's who Sanji is. He's always proclaimed that he's human, but we've known from the jump, ever since he can, turn his leg onto fire, that something was off with Sanji. Like, he wasn't normal exactly. He thinks that he is normal, but he hasn't been normal. And then when Oda has SBS thing, is like, okay, well, his blood type is the same as his brothers. And then you see how his brothers are just complete monsters. But there's so many different things about Sanji's character that I like seeing kind of come to the forefront. And in this moment, it's a very good moment against Queen, mind you, too, the guy that knows Judge. And so he knows the history of what Judge has done to, his kids. And then Sanji becoming just like them in a sense, at least physically.
Right.
And it's also pretty good kind of seeing. I love Robin really talking about the idea of the wing of the Pirate Kings and how Sanji is one of those wings, because you see how in Japan Sanji's popularity is like sky high, it's really high.
Yep.
And even now, and when you think about how Sanji is viewed by a lot of Japanese people, and then Oda really taking Sanji, putting him like now on that, I think, that worthy pedestal, knowing that there's more characters to come for his character development, character growth. Like, this is it's been some very good stuff with Patrick Sanji. I've been super happy with Sanji, gotten some really damn good W's, some good character moments, and there's more to come, guaranteed. So I'm waiting back for the show, and it's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be a great ride, honest to God. I love it.
I'm 100% with you. I mean, for me, I know I'm a little bit notorious for my Black Maria reaction. That's something I've had to hold up. I've had to apologize. I understand that. Yeah, I remember last time we had this conversation, you called me a fraud on stream, King. I remember it.
Bro.
But
you were in the darkness.
I was in the darkness. I was blinded, man. I was blinded. But I was woken up, or horror woke me up, and then after that, I kind of just started to really just see things in a different light. And I think what's been interesting is, you mentioned it. It seems like Sanji's character, basically from Zou to Whole Cake Island, Oda's placed a heavy emphasis on the character of Sanji, where in Wano, you see a lot more of the strength, training, ambition of Zoro and Luffy and some of the other Strong Hats. With Sanji, he's mainly been focusing strictly on his character for such a long time. We didn't get a fight in Whole Cake for a specific reason, because now everything is coming into culmination where his character is set. And now that his character is set, it's time to remind us of Sanji the combatant, Sanji the third in command. And the moment with Chopper, when he saved Chopper from Queen, if I'm not mistaken, with Zoro in hand, that was the moment where I started to realize, I'm like, okay, Oda's been waiting for this moment to really let us remind us of Mr. Prince and remind us of that side of Sanji where he's extremely reliable in almost every situation now. When Zoro's in a situation, you're like, all right, well, at the very least, Zoro can hold back Kaido for a couple of, maybe a minute or two. He's there. He's ready. He's reliable. Sanji comes in. Oh, Sanji's definitely dealing with King and Queen, like off screen. Dealing with King and Queen off screen to me is insanity. But he's chilling. No damage, nothing. Just moving around, saving everybody, and making sure no one's getting hurt. That reliability is like growing. And now to the point where we have this exoskeleton in play now. Zoro's been superhuman with his durability since Alabasta. I mean, to this day, I can't believe Mr. One sliced a pillar in front of Zoro and his body didn't turn into shreds. To this day, I don't know what Zoro is made of, but he might have an exoskeleton as well. But now, when you look at the monster trio, all three of them are monsters in their own right. Everyone has their individual monstrous traits. Zoro holding back the ocean sovereignty is a testament to his monstrous will. Luffy just not going down in general is just like, he's just going to tire you out eventually. You're just not going to win. He'll tire you out. And then with Sanji, he's like the ultimate shield. And that's something you mentioned, King, as well, which is something I liked, where Zoro is the sword. He's like the attack force. When you need to get something done, you send Zoro in. He scars Kaido, does something crazy. And then with Sanji, He's got the raid suit, the exoskeleton. Not to mention he's quick. He's faster than, in my opinion, he's faster than both Luffy and Zoro. So he's elusive and he's unbreakable now. So it's just like you have two guys sitting right next to Luffy who are extremely reliable, and then you have the king who's just above all else. I think that dynamic is really coming into fruition. And what I really want to see is that moment when both Zoro and Sanji defeat King and Queen at the same time, and then you just see them looking up at Luffy like, all right, go ahead, Luffy, take care of it. Like, I want to see that moment because you know it's coming.
I mean, the best moment, yeah, for sure, absolutely.
I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, that'd be crazy.
Saying it just now, it's just
it'd be great. Kind of reminds me of Enies Lobby in a way when like they're watching Luffy like fight Rob Lucci from like the hole that was made when they collapsed the bridge, and then you have, I mean, granted, I don't think it's gonna be with Usopp now, but Usopp just looking at Luffy fighting on the ground. Like Rob Lucci getting that dub, walking away. Like Usopp's like, no, like you're a kin. Rob Lucci's like, I'm coming for you. Luffy's like, no, I got this. Stand down. Like it just, I can envision it where it's like the entire, maybe because right now, like where they are, like over Wano country, like the entire country may watch, like have the scene of Luffy, wherever it's gonna be, like maybe just base Luffy, Gear 5, whatever, and then just Kaido like fighting in the skies, and then like it winds up just being like this. Everyone's like almost like a No Arc 2. Everyone's watching the whole thing play down, and then you're gonna just see Luffy and Sanji, Zoro and Sanji right there watching their boy doing his work. Like, yeah, like we coming, like, you know, make no mistake, like we are the Pirate King's best men. Roger had Rayleigh and Scopper. Like let's get it. We're here. We're with our boy who needs us. We'll come through. But this is his fight, and we have our fights. We took care of business, and it's very dope seeing that through and through. Honest to God, the goosebumps, man.
I want to see it like what happened with the mix with the Dukes a few chapters ago. I want to see it like mirrored, you know, with Zoro and Sanji. You know how like Neko and Inu were getting mirrored throughout the panel. I'd love to see it like that when we got a little bit of updates. I was actually hoping that we could get a bit of a tag team fight between Zoro and Sanji and King and Queen for a bit longer.
I wanted that. Yeah, I definitely wanted that a lot more. Yeah, that'd be so. I mean, honestly, to be fair, I say it all the time. I think the anime is gonna be like, just go, have at it. I think the anime is gonna have all sorts of fun with that stuff, and then they're gonna just really take the liberty of showing a lot more fight stuff for Zoro, for Sanji, for a whole slew of characters. So watch the anime, please, guys. If you haven't done that, please.
I mean, Kinemon, oh my God. When you see Kinemon, I was like, what the hell?
Like a Batosai, a Manslayer. I'm like, Kinemon!
I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Kinemon has that, then they got to give our boys a lot of love. They have to. They have no choice.
They have to. So it's just making me think about Rooftop Zorro. Like, you get like one panel of him cutting Kaido. Can you imagine the animation and the cubes? We're going to see him launching towards...
It's going to be great. When the Rooftop hits, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, when Onigashima gets in a full swing, it's going to be, honestly, God, phenomenal across the board. Like, Jinbei is going to be great. Robin, please, God. Robin.
Devil Robin in the anime?
Great.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. And also, too, I hope that they're going to give Nami and Usopp a lot more, because that was an actual tactic that we saw between, you know, Nami, Usopp versus Pedro and Ulti. The manga doesn't cover that much, but in the anime, I'm hoping that we get like a lot more, because I want to see like Nami try and do some tricks. Those Usopp do some tag teams, like they all fail, and Ulti's like no, Pedro's like no, and then I just want to see a lot more of that stuff. So anime, I'm praying you guys to really get that done. I really am.
So one thing I am scared of is reliving the Black Maria stuff in the anime, because you know they're gonna draw it out even more.
But it's
and the anime, they're really focusing on Black Maria as well.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. How she also like enjoys like Ulti like snapping. Like Ulti snapping is so cute. I love it. I'm like Black Maria and Ulti have that connection in a weird way in the anime. But it's nice though. It's nice. I like it.
So you think they're gonna have a humorous? Do you think they're gonna play into the comedy that you think was in that scene then in the anime?
Okay. I thought it was a good chapter. I thought it was pretty funny, especially when it was done on Sanji's, I think, birthday too. I think officially that was like the release day of Sanji's birthday, or like his birthday week, something like that. Right. I think Oda did that because I think it was the idea of Sanji's taking all this punishment, but he's relying on Robin to save him. Robin, because obviously Sanji had a choice to make in Enies Lobby. He chose to have his principles over saving Robin, even though he could have, for the first time in the entire series, threatened a woman, Kali at the time.
Yeah. And
then Robin saves him when he can get the fight done, and then she thanks him, which makes him extraordinarily happy. Right. So for him, it doesn't matter, and that's the role of the Shield, I guess, in the crew. It doesn't matter what other folks think. His job is to make sure that everyone is protected per se. And then if they need, I mean, that's where the racial kind of exists too, in a sense where like he can protect those that need protecting. When he scooped up Nami and Robin and Shinobu in the when they were having the bath scene stuff.
House,
yeah, that's like his kind of role where like he has to like protect the crew, and then he kind of plays that I think to much better extent than most of the characters in the crew. Honestly. Yeah.
I mean, even before we got to Onigashima, there was that scene where Sanji literally uses his body to shield Nami from the arrows. So yeah, now it's gonna have no effect. But I think it's also pretty cool that obviously in terms of like the monster trio, in terms of the haki that they have, Sanji obviously had the higher, better observation haki, and now through the exoskeleton, he's sort of like what he sort of lacked in armament haki, I think, is getting boosted as well. So I like the leveling that Oda's doing there, the balancing act.
You know, it's interesting that you guys mentioned that because I'm also thinking about before we got into Zou, when the Big Mom Pirates came in Dressrosa, Sanji was their shield yet again. They're stopping Doflamingo from coming after them, and then right after that, we're on Zou with Sheep's Head and everybody. Sanji again was the one who was protecting everybody. Then Capone comes in. Sanji's acting as that shield role again. So there's a lot of self-sacrifice in Sanji's character, and then Whole Cake is all about Sanji's self-sacrifice.
And then even till on like be like during Zou with that flashback of what happened when the Straw split up, and we see Sanji actually like lead the Straw Hats as the Spiral Hat. I think it's called the Spiral Hat Pirates, where he actually has that plan to actually defend against the championship with Big Mom, and we see him coordinate with Nami, with Brook, with Chopper. It's like Sanji's coming into the forefront in a very different way than the pre-time skip, and that character development is even continuing in Wano Country. Like, listen. Maybe it's me being, too much of a Sanji fan, like a fanboy. But I think that Sanji, even in Wano Country, is the best written Straw Hat out of all the Straw Hats in this arc right now. I would argue that personally.
I would agree.
So, and then Oda's giving us even more insight on what's going to happen in the future for Sanji's character with the German stuff. It's like this. Oda is really making Sanji, like he's really going out of his way to make Sanji a very well written character, which is amazing to me. Like I can't complain. I just can't. I can't.
Yeah. I feel like there's with Sanji there's a lot of depth to him that I think we as a fan base can underestimate because some of us may have not liked exactly some people don't like that they keep pushing Sanji's chivalry onto them. Some people disagree with it. To me, I think it's insanity. I've never had an issue with Sanji's chivalry. My only stance was I don't want Oda to push the boundaries of the chivalry because we know it's there. But again, it's beyond the chivalry because his dynamic with Luffy and seeing that innate trust that Luffy has in Sanji and that innate trust that Zoro had in Sanji as well. It's coming out to the point where instead of just Sanji being a ladies' man and a chivalrous man that's only going to protect women, now you're seeing Sanji as a protector of the crew. And I think a lot of people need to understand that now, that Sanji's not... The gag is Sanji protecting only women, but he always protects the Straw Hats. He protects Usopp. He protects Chopper. He just protected Chopper beforehand. And the funniest part about it is that Sanji will openly say, hey, Usopp, Chopper, you're good. I'm going to protect Nami while everyone's getting shot with arrows. Like, that to me is funny. But then he'll go around and act like, I guess I'll just save the guys. It is what it is. And I think the Momonosuke thing in particular is something I enjoyed because Sanji's view of chivalry is masculine. He believes it's extremely masculine to be chivalrous. And outside of that...
Which folks don't like, to be fair. Folks don't like that.
Yes.
But, I mean, that's just how Sanji rolls. That's very old school, that, yeah.
Exactly. Sanji's very old school. But then you go into when he saved Momo, and Momo told everybody, it was just in the recent One Piece episode, that he is Momonosuke Kozuki, and I will be the Shogun of Wano. Sanji saves him, and Sanji's like, all right, Momo, you're acting like a man. Like, I like seeing that. So it shows that Sanji's version of masculinity isn't just based on chivalry, but it's based on standing up for yourself in those tight moments where you have no choice. Like, think about it. Momo was going to die. He's on the cross. He can't escape. He's a child. For him to stand up for his ideals and what he believes in and not to betray his family is something that Sanji would resonate with because he doesn't betray his ideals for anything. He would never betray Zeph, ever. Look at Whole Cake. So it's like Sanji sees Momo and it's like, yeah, you're a man. This is what I stand for, and it's not just chivalry, it's everything else. So like these are like little things that I think the fan base doesn't truly appreciate enough, because you got to look a little bit deeper. And we have Mr. Randy Troy here.
Hey.
Welcome. I don't know if
Randy.
I don't know if his mic is working.
So I saw Chrissy in the chat as well.
You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep, here now. Yep.
There he is with the Heat on Feet shirt. The music video was sensational, sir.
Yeah.
Buy the merch. Buy the merch. Heat on Feet.
That's dope.
Hey, I mean, we came here to talk about agenda, right? So,
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Exactly. He came out collect. He came out clutch. I like it.
All right, the boy with the heat on feet. All right, I saw this is called the Sanji Summit, right?
Yes.
So let's.
Yes, I like this.
So
this is great.
So we were just going over basically
Boy on a
how. Oh, lovely. So you're gonna have to send me. You're gonna have to send me a link to that.
I need more Sanji merch. Yo. I feel out of place here. Oh my God, I feel like.
Everyone just needs to draw a little
blaster
eyebrow.
run.
Just draw a little swirly eyebrow.
Yeah, but I can't. It won't show that.
I was about to say we have.
There's a problem there.
Listen, if you have like a white marker, maybe we can have a nice little white eyebrow. But Randy, we were just talking about how we felt about Sanji basically from Whole Cake up until this point, and how we've enjoyed how Oda is kind of taking a new step with Sanji's character. So just get your thoughts on that before we move on to the next topic.
Oh man, since Whole Cake, I mean, here's like the thing with Sanji is that so many people want to complain about realistically like the growth. You know, I think that this is it's kind of timely to say this as well. I think because I haven't watched the video yet because it's 6 hours, but I know that people are talking about the downfall of One Piece and they're talking about things like this, and I can't speak from the perspective of someone who has watched the video because I haven't, but I think that sometimes, and this applies to Sanji as well, is that people need to step back, understand that one thing about One Piece in the first place is that we are reading, absorbing, watching, in my opinion, the most consistent work of art that has ever been done, that constantly is growing and changing. And we have to understand that Oda himself is a constantly changing and growing human being. We, as consumers of this medium, are constantly growing and changing. Okay, when I first started reading and watching One Piece in the first place, it was like 2002. Okay, I was in high school. I am not the same person that I was back then. Okay, I've had a whole life, more than half of my life, reading, absorbing the show. Like, you know, I'm a family man now. I got a whole kid. Like, and this is a different too. Like, this is what Oda has gone through, that same change. Being an artist, you know, now also is a family man and all that. That's working his way towards the end. And the way that a writer is going to work on everything, they're going to change their characters. They're going to grow, and things are going to happen. So, but the thing that has always been consistent is that Oda loves Sanji. Period. He loves this character. There is no reason why anybody could say that Oda hates Sanji. He uses him to such a versatile degree in every situation. And honestly, out of anyone in the crew, probably has the best foreshadowing and just writing and character development to begin with. This man had a whole arc, Whole Cake Island to himself, right? And everybody said, man, but he didn't fight. I'm like, did you understand, like, the new, like, he fought with himself. He fought with his crew, he fought with his ideals, he fought with his family. He didn't need to punch out Oven or Daifuku or Perospero, even though it would have been nice. That wasn't what it was about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now we're here in Wano, and we're getting essentially the Enies lobby to Whole Cake Island's Water 7 character arc, right? This is a whole continuation. It never stopped. It never ended. It wasn't like Whole Cake finished and it was just, all right, Sanji, you know, all of this development, whatever. Now it's over. No, he's dealing with all of the stuff with his family. It's carrying over to here. Now we have Queen, who has connections to Judge, who's trying to bring out all of this Germa stuff. Since Whole Cake Island, and I mean, and people can go back to forum posts and all types of stuff. I've been saying, you know, because I wasn't doing YouTube when Whole Cake was live, but I was saying, this dude is going to awaken these abilities. And matter of fact, this is, and still in my opinion, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but this is the reasoning for John Feet, Able Jambé. Like, I believe that at some point it's going to come out. The tampering with Sanji's lineage factor is what allows him to produce that fire.
Yep.
Probably, yeah.
The degree that he can do it, sure, he can spin on his on his leg and make it happen, but stuff that he does with that fire too, like that's a whole other level. And I'm here for all of this. I'm here for, you know, they were calling it the adamantium drip in my stream, and I'm just exoskeleton stuff. And
Adamantium, vibranium.
Vibranium drip,
Valyrian steel, whatever you want to call it, baby. It works. You gotta love it, man. Dude,
what a time to be alive! What a time to be a Sanji fan.
That's what I'm saying, yo.
What a time to just breathe it all in. Just let it settle in. Let it, you know, all of the 1005 hate. Just let it.
Just let it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I mean, it's like, because one thing that I've been seeing a lot of folks talk about now is how, like, Sanji, people are upset at him because he's not using the rage against Queen, and he doesn't want to use the rage against Queen. And I think people forget what Sanji said when he first got the rage to, and he's like, I'm going to use this to, have my identity in the situation, but also to protect those that I want to, you know, protect and maybe help those out. That's why when he said, I'm going to, you know, save those that maybe need saving because they need that power, and he's able to actually save Momonosuke when no one else can. And then he takes this attack from King the Wildfire, virtually no damage. And now against Queen, who's egging him on, someone that, you know, knows his father and he hates his father. He like detests his father. And when you think about Sanji and how his power, unlike his own siblings, his brothers, I should say, when they're emotionless freaks and monsters, but Sanji's power, like, you can see it's rooted in so much emotion, so much passion, how that may come to the forefront for something even brand spanking new for Sanji compared to the characters. Like, Oda really does take his time to give Sanji so much in terms of the versatility of his character, which is why, Jay, I can understand why you're upset about, you know, Sanji having all this meme stuff with Black Maria, and he's getting dunked on Black Maria. He's calling for Robin, like, Robin need help. But that just shows that Sanji, he's so multifaceted because, like, it was a very funny moment for Sanji's character, especially when it was during his birthday month or birthday week, I think it was.
Yeah. It's
like, because Sanji can be in almost every situation and it works masterfully.
Right. And I think go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, is based on what you were saying earlier as well, Jay, about his role as a protector, his role as a leader. I think part of his versatility is that there's so much character development that he knows how it feels to also be weak. I know that a lot of fans have a lot of problems with how he was used against Vogo, how he was used against Doffy, but I think that is also why it places him such a perfect scenario and perfect place to be giving the advice that he does when he talks to people like Usopp, when he talks to other crew members like Chopper, when he's giving them advice and telling them to be strong. It means a lot more because this is Sanji, who is just a regular human with, you know, the modifications that came later. At that point, he knows what it feels like to be, he knows what it is to be not a regular human, being, you know, a technical regular human that's technically, you know, viewed as weak, but can also be strong and can also stand as his own along with the monster trio.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a good point you harped up on. It just made me think of something as well. When you think about the mindset, Sanji is naturally compared to Zoro just because that's something that Oda's put in place. And if you think about the mindset of Luffy and Zoro in particular, they're both very headstrong, with their determination and their ambition. Luffy's ambition is to be the king of the pirates. Zoro's ambition is to be the world's greatest swordsman. In order for people to reach those heights, and this is something I mentioned with people like Fisher Tiger, Ace, and Gold Roger, in order for people to do these Herculean feats, you have to be absolutely insane. Like, you have to literally be so one-track minded and so driven for your goal that normal things don't apply to you anymore. Normal logic, normal life circumstances. Oh, my ribs are broken. I don't care. I have to be the world's greatest swordsman, so I have to get up and I have to defeat you. That's the mindset of Zoro and Luffy. With Sanji, the human aspect that you guys are referring to, that's important. Because Sanji wants to find the All Blue. Sanji is a passionate cook. That's not something that involves, that's not something that you need a crazy, insane will to do. Like, you have to have you are a big dreamer for the All Blue, yes. And, traveling around the world and finding your dream, yes, there's that. But in terms of the mindset that Sanji has compared to Luffy and Zoro, it's innately different. So they're going to carry themselves in a different way. And I think that's where that human side of Sanji comes in, because he's allowed to be human. He's sensitive, he's chivalrous, he has all these normal human traits. He's a pervert from time to time, likes to make people laugh from time to time, he's a little selfish, stubborn, whatnot. That's all normal human traits, everyday human behavior. Zoro and Luffy will never display everyday human behavior, and I think that's a testament to the fact that everyone Luffy runs into, Luffy changes them. When I just did the Romance Dawn series, and when Kobe ran into Luffy, Kobe had this idea of the world that, hey, Alvita's strong, I'm a weakling, I just have to be weak, there's nothing I can do. He runs into Zoro and Luffy, and he sees the insanity that these guys have, and it's like, okay, maybe I can be a little different. With Sanji, with the Black Maria moment in particular, Sanji decided, I'm going to take a beating because I don't want to sacrifice Robin, and I'll actually believe in Robin. That's also natural human empathy and altruism that Sanji displayed, to the point where Robin's like, hey, Sanji, thanks, I appreciate that. And I think that's something that I needed to kind of remind myself of, that, okay, Sanji has these moments where he can be insane and will be this James Bond-esque character that's superhuman. But there's also a human side of Sanji that Oda is really trying to show me and everybody else that we need to accept in order to enjoy Sanji to his fullest and not just enjoy his hype and great moments. So it was definitely a good point.
Yeah, I mean, his humanity was really the part that was highlighted the most during the Whole Cake Island arc, because we saw, his development as a child, how he was always the weakest, compared to his siblings. So we understand, why it makes perfect sense when he says, he gives the advice to that he does to Usopp and Chopper, because he can completely relate to feeling like the weak link, as he was being compared with his siblings. But
so then let's move on to the next topic, because I think we're now talking about Whole Cake Island a lot, and this is one thing that I've seen with people that I was very surprised with, and I disagree with completely. Yeah. Some people say that Sanji and him unlocking his German genes in the exoskeleton is basically shitting on the sacrifice of Sora, and to me, I mean, I see Randy's already disgusted. To me, it's absolutely stupid. But I mean, anyone who wants to take the floor, please go ahead and start, because I'm sure we all have a lot to say on this.
Sora is the MVP. This whole situation.
Yeah, she is.
She's the one who won. All right. I mean, I said it in my video. First of all, he was with Judge, so she already knew what the deal was. It was only until he was like, "Hey, I want to take their emotions away too," and that whole characterization is only going to make sense to us when we get like some sort of a Judge flashback, when we understand whatever happened to the original German Kingdom, whatever happened, with Mads, that his emotions got in the way of attaining something that he needed. Maybe that's why, the German Kingdom is on the move on those snails. He did something happened to him with his emotions, so he wanted to prevent that from his children. He was already planning to make them stronger. And now, I've said this too, if you are a parent, you want to protect your children. So no one's going to say, all right, hold up, so this, you want to make them indestructible? They're going to be protected for life? There's no way Sora wouldn't have said, all right, that's cool. It's just the emotion aspect. She did what she did. Mm-hmm. She did what she did to protect emotions, and that worked with Sanji, and to a certain extent with Reiju. Not 100%, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's like 50% Reiju has emotions.
Judge did the thing where like she can't disobey Judge. Like something
Yeah.
like genetic location about that. Like she can't disobey her father at all. Yeah.
But here's the thing too, is that it's going to come out also that everything that Judge did is going to be the key thing that actually nerfs all of his other children.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sanji's kindness, Sanji's emotions are going to actually unlock the full potential of everything that Judge wanted to accomplish. So now we're kind of seeing things from a perspective that we didn't see with the other Germa. When Sanji had to go and get his face restructured, whereas Sanji just is standing up, he's got healing. He's Wolverine right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the other Germa don't have that. So something went wrong there that went right with Sanji.
Sanji, yes.
That's where we are, and Sora's the winner. She got a child that has emotions and is protected and is hero.
Yeah. I mean, let me say this too. So one thing that we have to think about so when it comes to like the Japanese, as far as I understand at least, the Japanese view of blood types, when you look at Sanji's blood type, and he's SRH negative, the same with Yonji, Ichiji, and Niji. But because of her sacrifice, when you think about the blood type personality spectrum in Japan, how they believe that a lot of folks have the same personality, or they have their blood type indicates their personality. Sanji being so different from his other brothers is a blessing in a sense. And because his power, you could argue, comes from his emotion in many respects. And you can see how Ichiji, Niji, Yonji were so emotionless when they were going to die, when they were coated in candy. Paris was about to lick these boys clean. And it was like, you know what? Listen, I'm freaked out. These are my kids. I modified them to be superhuman, and they don't care about being licked to death. But Sanji was the only guy running after them. I gotta save Reiju. I gotta save my family. The fact that his emotions are like a core part of his power with the fire, obviously. The fact that he's able to regen, like not just dent in, regen actually, like snap back into place, and he's so confused as to what's going on. And Queen is no slouch in power by any measure. No. And the fact that when you think about
yeah, hockey masters for me. I'm like, wow, the clouds.
He was a Walking Dead zombie, and he came back to life. I'm like, whoa. That just completely floored me. And then on top of all that, when you think about this is Sora and her doing, keeping the emotion inside Sanji, and knowing that the two most important people that were to him outside of Zeb when he was a kid were Reiju and Sora, both women, which is probably one of the reasons why he values women so highly. It's like it's masterful on Oda's part. Like he just over the course of X amount of chapters from Bada TA to now, it works. I don't know how he does it, but it just works masterfully. Honestly, I love it, dude. I love it, man. Like Jesus, man, this dude.
No other power up in the series had the level of foreshadowing and forethought than this did. You know, I mean, like you look at some of the other power-ups that we got in the series, you may get a little bit of hint here and there, but it's like, I remember weekly, East Lobby, the Gear 2nd chapter, like, hold up, what's happening? Like, we getting Super Saiyan right now?
Right.
And we had to get the line later on that it was like, my fight with Aokiji is what helped me develop this, but we never saw anything from Oda, Luffy, like, training, developing, trying to figure that out. And the same thing with like Ashura. But even then, Diable Jambe was like the easiest thing to kind of get behind. Like, okay, he spins around, it's on fire, okay. But now we had a whole arc foreshadowing this entire arc. There's, we're not getting a Rayleigh flashback. We're not getting a Gastino flashback to give us any sort of insight on what's happening here. All right?
Low key
This-
chopper slander, low key, but we'll let it go. I'm just saying,
And warranted,
Joygirl, I'm sorry.
necessary,
I'm just saying. I'm not upset. I'm just saying. It ain't me.
Chrissy,
All right,
though. That's what
again,
Chrissy in the
Joygirl, I'm
chat,
sorry. Yeah.
I'll
no,
leave
I'm
Chrissy to comment on this. They're giving Chopper. There's some slander on Chopper over here.
Hey, I'm not a Chopper hater. I'm not a Chopper hater. The Gastino flashback did kind of come out of nowhere, and it was just like, okay, we here. 30-minute monster Chopper. All right. But this is we don't have to get a flashback with Sanji because we had a whole arc telling us what was going to happen, and I mean, there's like a lot of people in the community acting like Whole Cake Island didn't exist, and they're just like, well, where did this come from? We read Whole Cake Island.
Yeah. And then, like, even like before you argue in Fishman Island, when he had, I mean, even as a Sanji fan, like my waiver, I mean, I was starting to falter, like, wait, whoa, this is a bit too much with the mermaids and the nosebleeds and the fountain of blood and all kind of stuff. But even in the midst of that, by the way, he has a very unique blood type, something called SRH negative. And then, yeah, he gets it from these two solid Okama lads. Shout out to them. But the fact that even then, the blood type and the blood situation was important with Sanji and how that now plays a role with his own, genetic DNA and his lineage factors and how he's now transforming and how the raid suit played a role in that. The second time he wore the raid suit, when it just so happens that he wound up spewing a lot of blood on his own raid, it's like, maybe that's not the case, but that's why I think ultimately after they modify the raid suit, after Wano Country, after we have Sanji once again, visit Germa and, find out what's going on, I think Oda's I think he has everything planned out till the end of the series clearly with Sanji. Like, it's very clear. It's all going to be there. It's all going to make sense. And it flows like a babbling brook on a Sunday morning. It's smooth. It works. It works so well, dude. I can't with Sanji. It's so good. I'm sorry. Like, look, again, maybe it's going crazy here. I think he's the best written character in Wano Country. Now, that could be going crazy here, but he had the raid suit, invisibility powers, which he wanted when he was a kid, ever since we see in Thriller Bark, and how it comes into play with, him actually protecting Momonosuke, and also enhance his own unique powers. I mean, it's just like, come on. It's like, how much more
I
do
think
you
by the end of Wano, people will be more inclined to agree when we get, like, we're seeing the foreshadowing. We're seeing the things like Sanji being the one to say, hey, way to say your name like a man, Momo. Like, that's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
When Sanji, chapters from now, will be able to accept the Vince Smoke name in some sort of fashion, where he'll have that growth. That growth is being set up right there. But I just remember you guys were talking about the complaints about why hasn't Sanji put the raid suit on yet and all this stuff. I just need to take a moment to say that when he puts it on, he'll put it on. But for right now, he's got one of the cleanest outfits that he has ever had.
The burgundy.
This wine drip is fantastic.
The
And
burgundy.
it was like one of the things that when they started going to Onigashima, I was like, man, he's got the gloves too, the wine. Oh man, when he puts the raid suit on, it's like a waste of an outfit. But Oda has not wasted this outfit at all.
No.
So Joygirl, I'm still waiting your thoughts on the Sora situation. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I mean, I would completely agree as well. I was surprised that people felt that way. I think that's a clear big win for Sora. I don't think, like you guys said, I don't think there was any part of Sora that didn't want her children to be strong. She had no problem with her children being strong without being it was the idea of being, emotionless monsters. She wanted them to keep their humanity. So this is a huge W for Sora. The Sanji can be strong, he can keep his powers, and then he can also have his humanity. His humanity's preserved, and it was he didn't have to follow Judge. He hasn't followed Judge's footsteps, but then he still gained the power, and it's such a big L for Judge in that sense. The fact that Judge, called him his failure, kicked him out, and it's proof that he could be a monster, you can still be a monster without actually being an emotionless, villainous monster, and he's actually Judge's greatest success.
Yes.
Thanks to Sora.
Yes.
Sora. Sanji is the reason why the Vince Smoke family survived that whole cake. It's and that it's just getting it's just continuing to get payoffs and payoffs, you know, well into the Wano arc as well. And, you know, if we're going back to that Momo moment as well, again, Sanji was the one able to commend Momo and say, you know, great job there, because Sanji has been in those situations and he knows, you know, the deep layered meaning behind all of that.
Oda is constantly giving Sanji W's.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure. I've actually said that. I know that, you know, a lot of people say that Oda hates Sanji whenever things, you know, things happen to Sanji. But I've actually made a video that says it seems sort of like Oda really loves Sanji to the point that Sanji's almost like a reflection of Oda.
Oda himself,
within
yes,
One Piece.
yes,
within
yes.
One Piece, you know,
Sanji
right.
and Usopp.
Yeah, Usopp. For sure, but there's so many.
Randy, my boy, yo. Randy, my boy, yo. I'm about to play, yo. I need donate, yo. Randy, like, what's your PayPal? I need donate. I need donate. Joygirl too. Get some donations. I'm tired. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Thank you. Oh my God. Wow.
You were saying
it feels so good. It feels so good, dude. It's like fine, like, cause like. It's like, oh yeah, like Sanji's not like the rawest guy. He's not flying through the clouds, going across the 7 seas and the 9 mountains and the great worlds. It's like, no, he doesn't need to be though, because he's still clean in his own awesome way.
Right, and he's doing that Batman in the shadows stuff.
Yeah,
and everybody gets out of situations. Eni's lobby, Alabasta. So many times the whole crew would be dead if it was not for him. Right?
No, man.
Who is the person that Luffy let lead the crew? Half of the crew.
Right.
Just for some.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love
There's
it.
so many moments that I feel just fly under the radar for people, and everybody wants to say, "Oh, but the nosebleed in Fishman Island." All right, yeah. I mean, come on, that wasn't you know, his best moment. But I mean, there is such greatness. There's such greatness. Oda uses Sanji as a device sometimes. That's what you do as a writer, right? Having Sanji be the person that shows you how strong Virgo is, how strong Doflamingo is, how strong Black Maria is, setting up a win for Robin, who needed one. This is what he uses Sanji for, and there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Joygirl, I wanted to give you a chance to finish because you were mentioning that Sanji's like a reflection of Oda himself. Is there more you wanted to add on to that?
I mean, I think we're all in. It seems that we're all in agreement here, but it seemed. But yeah, there's lots of like story elements that Oda's, you know, made with Sanji's character. The fact, you know, the swirly eyebrows, the fact that that's the design within the devil fruit. But even like just on a personal level, Oda's a smoker. Oda married a Nami cosplay artist.
Signs his name with the eyebrow.
Yeah, exactly. He's in the Oda. Yeah, exactly. Mm.
And the Oda part of his name means way more than than his first name. Like, that's his surname, and he is putting the Sanji swirl on that.
Yeah, yeah.
This swirl right here on the merch.
I need to get
this man.
You don't think?
At this point, I need to get a hoodie that just has a Sanji swirl, just right in the middle. That's
pretty much. Yeah,
that's all I need.
Like a silhouette, blonde, yellow, and then swirl it up. Yeah, that's what you need, pretty much.
So before we move on to the next topic, I guess I'll just add my thoughts on the Sora thing. And I had someone message me asking, you know, did I think it was an insult to Sora sacrifice? And this seems to be coming from the same school of thought where people believe Sanji needs to apologize to Zorro or Luffy or something, or that Zorro needs to find out about what happened to Whole Cake, and then Sanji needs to apologize. That's a whole thing. That's a whole thing that, you know, I dealt with as well. And I think
Joy Boy start that?
No. This is a long Twitter. This is a Twitter. This is like a big Twitter thing, and it moved into YouTube a little bit. But
yeah, Twitter toxicity.
Oh my goodness, you know. But I would say
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Well, I would say I think it's unnecessary because I think Luffy and Sanji resolved it amongst themselves, and Nami saw it firsthand. She forgave him too. I don't think there's anything else. It's case
like Luffy
closed.
said point blank, "I need you.
Yeah,
I need you to be Pirate King." It's like. I mean, maybe the idea here would be, okay, well, Zoro and Sanji fight out if we want to take Zoro's ideas with Usopp we saw in Enies Lobby, Water 7, but I'm not too sure if that's something that is that prevalent nowadays in the story. Like, I'm not too sure exactly why that's the case. We're not seeing it, but hey.
Yeah.
I'm just always open for like more drama in the story.
Same.
You know,
In a way, yeah,
like, that's the only issue that I have with like post time skip. There's been a lot of focus on the scabbards. You know, can't wait for Wano to be over so we can start focusing on the crew again a little more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, not that they're not cool or anything, but they're just not as developed as I would like. So, but at the same time, you have these elements where you can kind of go back in a pre time skip and you can find those real dramatic moments. Water 7, the chapter where they're just on the ship, walking it out about the going merry is one of the strongest chapters that Oda has ever written.
Yes, I agree with that.
Such tension, such drama, and having a chapter like that where Sanji and Zoro just sort of hash some things out, like brother to brother, like that could be. Does it need to involve the whole crew? No. But it's like I still think for Sanji fans, for the Zoro fans, and for like the story itself, I think that there needs to be some part of this story before it ends where Luffy is out of commission or things get split up and Zoro has that chance to do what Sanji did at Zou, sort of take the crew, lead that a little bit, because he's technically the vice captain, so we need to see him in more of a vice captain role at some point. I want to see that. And, that's where that sort of conversation could happen. But now's not the time for it, because there's a whole war going on.
I think it's a bit of a misunderstanding of Zoro's character to think that there needs to be sort of like Zoro reprimanding Sanji for what happened. I think the situation between Sanji and the comparison, I guess, is to Usopp leaving. I think it's a huge difference. I think, Usopp leaving, it wasn't, it was based in like real emotions and real concerns that he had, but it was sort of also on a whim. It was more about challenging the captain. It was challenging Luffy's decision as a captain of what to do as a crew. Whereas Sanji, it's a completely sort of different scenario, and like you guys also said, this is something that's been dealt with from Luffy, and I also think Zoro and Sanji understand each other a lot more than people think. Way more than people think about the understanding that exists between these brothers.
Yeah.
And Luffy agreed to the duel with Sanji. And I think it's something that's been handled. I think also Zoro was also worried about the fact that they're going to go attack a Yonko. They're going to be fighting a Yonko now. So I think a part of him would be appreciating that Sanji didn't want danger to be coming to the crew. So that's what I would say about the situation.
Dope.
Look at it too.
I'm right there with it. One thing I like to mention is, what do you think Zoro would have done if Zoro was put in the same exact situation Sanji was, with all the same context and circumstances? What would Zoro do? I think Zoro would do the same thing. Honestly, like go off the whole cake, at the very least. That's how I think. I think Zoro would handle it the same way, just because his immediate thought is, the crew's safety. Nami, Brook, Chopper, they were all in danger. He should go to whole cake first and then deal with the rest later, and I think that's how it would have been handled. I think
story precedence with that. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. But at the same time, Sanji's kind of known for just doing things on his own sometimes. And we see him do that like a lot in the pre-time skip, but he just kind of goes off. Zoro doing the same thing in that, I'm not too sure, but I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying, yeah.
Say it was Kuina.
There.
Say it was Kuina.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, fair,
like,
fair.
Why would Zoro,
yeah.
Zoro, like Zeph and Kuina, the same thing. Yeah, like, why wouldn't he do it? I don't know. And again, Zoro's never been put in a situation like that to begin with. Oda never put Zoro in those situations, so you can guess that Zoro wouldn't do it. But again, with those circumstances, with that context, look what Luffy did for Ace. He went into Impel Down just to save Ace. Like, when someone you care about to that degree is on the line, you only think about their safety and you think about the other safety. And that's how I'd see it. And then just to add on to the Sora thing, again, if you think Sora's sacrifice is wasted by this, I don't think you were paying attention to Whole Cake Island at all. The whole point of Sora's sacrifice was Sanji saving the Germa. That's what it was about. It wasn't about him unlocking his exoskeleton later on. Sora's sacrifice was already paid in full after he saved Germa, because of his own kindness that his mother tried to protect, the fact that Reiju harped onto it to Luffy in particular The fact that Reiju saved Sanji from Judge is due to the fact that he maintained his kindness from Sora. So that's all been paid in full. This is just a benefit for everyone now. Sanji unlocking his exoskeleton, it's a benefit.
Dessert.
Yeah.
It's literally just
Yeah. I mean, like, he got the raid suit, which has one of the things that he really wanted when he was a kid, the invisibility power. Like, he wanted that. It was almost like a reward in a way. Whereas, like, you've done all of this, and then now you get this ability that you kind of want when you were a child. And you're using it in the way that you want to use it to protect those that are closest to you. The Straw Hats or Momonosuke when he needs help. Like, and that is in lockstep with what he is, I think, the shield of the Straw Hats. So, I mean, that's just how I just can't find any real fault to it outside of, well, people don't like it because, A, fuck Sanji because he's a pervert, and then B, because Sanji's getting a little bit too much. We didn't pay attention to Whole Cake Island, probably because we wanted to get to one country immediately, and here we are, and it's happening now, and we're mad, whatever reason. It's dumb stuff like that. I just avoid Twitter, please, Christ.
Avoid Twitter. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
Judge.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't. No, go ahead. I think my things are lagging a little bit.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I'm just saying I'm stuck on Twitter, so I don't have a choice.
Oh. No, I was just
What are
gonna
we
say
saying?
Judge owes Sora.
Yes.
Judge owes
Yes.
Sora a big one. You know, it was it's all Sora's doing. It was all Sora's sacrifice that got him there. You know, Sora was there with Sanji on top of that table at Whole Cake Island when he was looking down on his family. Sora was there right with him because it was Sora's sacrifice that saved Sanji's emotions, and then that emotion saved the family.
Like, look how happy she was when Sanji cooked food and then told her to have a good day.
Yeah.
It was like, that was such a, like, just those simple things made her so happy just to see Sanji where she was crying. Yeah, like, the food was terrible, but it didn't matter because that's what she cared about the most. For Sanji mentally wasn't like the others. He was genuinely a human being and could be a good person.
Right.
And that's what she wanted the most. And I just can't see how we can complain when Sanji, yeah, he has that physique like the other kids do, like the other boys do. But look at him as a person. Like, they say it over and over again. Like, Brooke said it so many times. I think Rachel so many times, where Sanji's a kind person. He's a kind-hearted person. And you see that time and time again. So, I mean, we can't complain. People don't have the right to complain.
No, they don't.
Period. Period.
So before we move on to the last topic, I just wanted to shout out the people that gifted subs. Westmeister01 gifted 10 subs.
Appreciate you.
Ryo underscore OP with the 5 subs. Thank you so much, sir. Billy Madison 124 with the 5 subs as well. God bless. And OK Karen with the 2 gifted subs. Appreciate you, Karen. So the last topic, I have a little tin pot theory for you guys, and it ties into everything that we've talked about and the future of Sanji and any theories and predictions you guys may have. And I genuinely believe that Sanji not wanting to wear the raid suit is obviously still the same reason, because he still hates the Vinsmokes. But there's also the nature of the Lunarian DNA. Lunarian, I cannot say that word. Lunarian DNA. There's also Mads that Queen mentioned as well. That's something that needs to be harped on, because we didn't know they were a scientific group and there's an actual name for it. So there's got to be a backstory or something there. And I feel like if we're not going to delve into that with Queen, we've already got Queen, we've got Judge, we've got Caesar. There's still one person of Mads that we still need to see. That's Dr. Vegapunk. So it's my thought that Frankie isn't the one that will be the key to us, the Straw Hats, meeting Vegapunk. I actually think they'll run into Vegapunk. And I think Vegapunk will notice that Sanji, he's like, oh, you're Sanji Vinsmoke. I worked with your father. Once that comes into play, then Vegapunk could explain to Sanji his history with Judge. And in that sense, based on how we know Vegapunk is, he seems like a very curious guy. To be a great scientist like that, you have to have a nature of curiosity. I think Oda will play into that factor of Vegapunk's curiosity and study Sanji's raid suit, because he probably understand lineage factor just as well as Judge, if not better. So if he can understand that, maybe he's the one who can let Sanji know about the Lunarian DNA and delve into that. And then also, if Sanji doesn't want to wear the raid suit so much, people think, okay, maybe Usopp will make some modifications to the raid suit. I disagree. I think with how high-tech the science is, Vegapunk, based on his own curiosity and based on his interaction and history with Sanji, he said, you don't like what Judge did? Let me take a look at the raid suit. Let me make some modifications. And maybe it's Vegapunk that makes the modifications to the raid suit to the point where Sanji is more comfortable wearing a raid suit that's been modified by Judge's enemy. So that's his that's his final end of series power up is the raid suit with Vegapunk modifications, and then we have the reveal about Lunarian DNA, lineage factor. That's all explained by Vegapunk, along with the fact that artificial devil fruits are also tied to lineage factors as well. So I think Sanji can be the conduit to all this big info dump that Vegapunk is going to give the Straw Hats, and then Frankie will come in as well. But I think it's literally Sanji and Vegapunk. I think that's the next big thing for Sanji's character. Then after we get all that information, like what King said, Sanji's going to run into the Vinsmokes. Then we're going to have a whole familial ordeal, and Sanji be like, I'm stronger than all of you, so I can honestly take over Germa right now to be part of the final war. So Sanji will lead the Germa in the final war based on his advancements, his raid suit, his lineage, his power, all of that. Might makes right in that sense. So that's my theory in a nutshell. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
So you're saying, morally speaking, Sanji's going to welcome the raid suit, seeing as Vegapunk will have like a hand in the modifications, and then like from a moral standpoint, he won't hate it so much, and it'll be something that he can accept more. Because I could see that happen. Yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, obviously, I think it depends on Vegapunk's moral stance, which is still a little unclear. But you know, depending on what we see from Vegapunk, I've said for a while that I think Vegapunk's going to come to Wano. And so if that's the case, and Sanji welcomes the raid suit, I think that'll be great for the crew. You know, and Vegapunk might be the final. Vegapunk would be the final upgrade that for the Straw Hats as a whole. You know, not just Sanji, but like as you say, yeah, Frankie could come into it later. And so that could be what the Straw Hats needs before the end of series. I mean, I'd love, just from a design standpoint, I'd love to see the raid suit just become a normal suit, to just be sort of more similar to what we have with Sanji, maybe even a tuxedo Sanji, similar to what we got in Whole Cake. But
I want a cape though. I'm not gonna lie. I like the cape.
I like the cape. I like the cape.
Yeah, or like whatever. I don't know what you call it. But
Already
like
said he did the sunglasses.
Yeah, sunglasses. But they were kind of dope, and like they help your eye protection. I mean, like, listen, man, like I kind of like them. I listen. Like if someone shoots you in the face, sunglasses they block it. But also, what about the thing? I forgot what it's called, but like the side cape we had when Germa and Whole Cake Island, they had like the red side cape or cloak thing. I forgot. Like, but I want that. That'd be dope too. Yeah, exactly that thing. If you had that thing. Because the cape is a shield too, so you don't want to lose the cape because that's extra defense.
Right.
Though Sanji seems to have even better extra stuff and defense than the other kid. So I don't know, maybe it's a bit too much defense, but defense wins games. That being said, though,
defense wins championships. There it is.
Exactly. With defense, exactly. But I mean, the theory is interesting. I'm just not too sure because it doesn't make sense, I suppose, with Vegapunk modifying the raid suit. Let's say in combination with Frankie, because that Frankie thing I think should still be there and should still be very, very strong. Like should be very strong because that I think was like the main thing that was hinted at when we had the whole pre-time skip on Vegapunk's old island. So all things that Frankie has in his mind, especially I think Pluton, should come into the woodwork with Vegapunk in some capacity. But more so than anything else, it should be the Death Fruit stuff. Because also himself that we're gonna have the Death Fruit stuff be like really touched upon when Vegapunk comes into fray. So, like the idea is interesting, but I'm not too sure if we need Vegapunk and Sanji, or at least that much Vegapunk and Sanji stuff, to then go off to like Sanji's family stuff. Because I think that's gonna be like a natural thing where after Laugh Tale, we have the final war stuff preparation. We achieve a few dreams. So Brook, Laboon, maybe Zoro and Mihawk, because I want Zoro to go into the final war as the world's greatest swordsman. And then all of the leadership skills that we've seen Sanji have over the course of the post-time skip, from Punk Hazard and onwards, that culminates with him leading German 66 into the final war against what I think is going to be could be the representation of Sora, the Marine Warrior of the Sea, which would be an admiral, whether it's going to be Green Bull, Kizaru, I don't know, but maybe someone new. And then that'll be like that big thing for Sanji come end of series, outside of him cooking the final feast, probably. Yeah.
So I love the idea of Vegapunk and Sanji being tied together. But, there's a lot riding on Vegapunk being altruistic or being a good guy, and his intentions and all that are still up in the air. Yeah, he's helping the kids out. Yeah, there was something with Kuma that his allegiances are like still gray though, because there's still all of that. He's still working for the government. He's still creating the SSG. He's still doing a lot of stuff like that. Vegapunk's like main goal coming to Wano is to follow the Momonosuke thread set up in Punk Hazard.
Yep.
So and then also the foreshadowing at the beginning of Act 1 with Rochi,
Rochi, yes,
Zero, and all of that. So yes, I fully believe that Vegapunk is on one of those ships and is coming there, and he's got to give us information on artificial devil fruits. He's going to be most interested in Momonosuke and why that fruit worked on him when it didn't work on someone else.
Yes.
But I do agree that Frankie has a tie to him and Sanji. So I think that all three of those characters at some point have to have some sort of an interaction with Vegapunk more than anyone else in the crew or anyone that's in this particular arc. But,
I mean, the key reason would be why? Because the key reason for this would be why was it a failure in the first? The fruit Momo ate. Why was it a failure in the first place? And I'm not too sure if it was anything Honestly, I think it could be something hyper petty, where it just didn't have any swirls. That's why it was a failure. I think that's why, because the fruit is the same thing essentially. Now we see Momonosuke in grown form. It works the same as Kaido's fruit for the most part. He just doesn't use it exactly. So, but I think that coupled with the whole Devil Fruit understand what Devil Fruits truly are, potentially giving Luffy, maybe even Brook or Robin if he's gonna be an ally, obviously, something to do with an awakening, because that hasn't been touched yet at all for any of the Triads, whether it's Robin, Brook, Luffy for the Triad. So I think that's going to be a key thing there too, and also maybe the stuff about Devil Fruits being inserted into objects as well, because that's something that he's created. So it's when you look at the Mads, just real quick, when you look at the Mads, it looks like everyone has their own specialty. Judge, the DNA guy, Queen is a cyborg, cybernetic, I guess, robot dude. Caesar Clown was the chemical poison based person, and then now of course when it comes to Vegapunk, he'd be the Devil Fruit person, because when you look at the series, his biggest things you can argue have been outside Pacifista have been Devil Fruit stuff. Actually, no, even that too, because he incorporated Kizaru's laser somehow in Pacifista. How do you do that? You have to wonder.
Made a Logia into a clonable Paramecium.
Right, how? What's going on there? So it looks like, I mean, honestly, during their heyday, they must have been crazy. Whatever Mads was doing, that must have been nuts. Whatever they had, those four guys together, oh my God. Things they can make, Jesus.
So,
scary.
I would say the main portion of this, and Randy, you brought up a very specific point that I mentioned. We don't know where his allegiance lies. We don't really know who he is. But one thing I can guarantee I can hang my hat on, we've seen this trope in so many other animes, is the genius scientist that's a sociopath, but his curiosity naturally leads him towards the heroine's direction, where he has something that he's so curious about that, I just want to focus on this and what's going on here, and because of my genius I can make some modifications here. And I think in this case the curiosity from Momonosuke is 100% going to happen. Agreed. I think go ahead.
I think I don't mean to cut you off, man, but just to buoy you off that real quick, is that what we also need to understand is why his allegiances are the way he is, why he's in that gray area. Is he doing everything on his own, or is he being forced and compelled in some sort of situation to do some of the things for the world government? Have they enslaved Vegapunk for some sort of a reason, and then they just let him do some personal projects on his own because they're doing other things? Is he indentured to the world government at some point? Those allegiances, that's what's going to really tie in. And while I do believe that at the end of the day, probably going to be good because of how built up he is, but just to flip that on his head, because it's all meant to seem like he's going to be the bad guy, and Oda would flip that. But then he could also flip it again and be like, you thought I was going to flip it that he's a good guy? No, he's a bad guy. So,
Vegapunk being a bad guy would be interesting. And
that kills a lot of theories. That kills a lot.
It kills
of
a lot
theories,
of
though.
theories.
It kills a lot of people's theories, though.
Well,
like Order 66, Pacifista. Like it's time to like if he's a bad guy, ooh, that's gonna be tough.
It really would be. And I think, someone in the chat mentioned really where I was going with this. If you guys have watched Code Geass, the Earl of Pudding, that guy, he's your stereotypical curious sociopath merchant. But I guess in that sense is if there isn't a motivation for him being in the Marines, like if he's not being held hostage, and it's just the case that the world government has the best environment for him to explore his genius and things that he knows about, it could be a case where he's just in it for the curiosity, which means he has no allegiances. His allegiance is to science and development of new technology. And if that's the case, it would make sense why he'd work with horrible people like Queen, Caesar, and Judge, because I can't assume that I would assume they've been horrible people from the rip, from jump. So if that's the case and they were part of a scientist group, it's probably the case that Vegapunk saw them as great scientists and they were pushing towards revolutionary findings like giantification and all things of that nature. If he sees Sanji and he's reminded of Vinsmoke Judge, and he goes into a little soliloquy of a flashback on their time with Mads and the lineage factor and whatnot, it could be a case that just based on his curiosity around Sanji and him being Judge's father and the technology that he has, that he would want to take a look into it, just based on that natural scientific curiosity that he has.
What if it's more like he just cares about the Shroud crew in their entirety, but more so Momonosuke, obviously, because that's the fruit that he made, and Momonosuke is using that fruit in real time, and so on and so forth. Because, look, like I would like Momonosuke to return to being a kid. Honest to God, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I'm just praying it's gonna happen at some point. Please. I don't know. Maybe he has some crazy magical seal stuff, and then boom, okay, it's kid. Cool. But either way, I think that when you look at the Shroud crew, there's a lot of interesting things in the crew. So if he's a man of science, you have Frankie, Cyborg. Hey, I was in your home island. I blew it up. I'm sorry, my bad dog. But I have in my mind some stuff about ancient weapon stuff that's curious. Vinsmoke Sanji. I know your father Judge were together. He was a weird kind of dude. Had some crazy swirly eyebrows. You don't see him though. All that kind of stuff. Robin. I mean, there's potentially a lot of people that may entice him in the Strike crew. So it may not just be a specific Sanji thing when you have other elements there potentially.
There's also the connection to the Revolutionary Army potentially as well.
Right, that too, yeah. But again, that's like Order 66 stuff. So which would be interesting, honestly. But then you have to wonder, does that compute the SSG, whatever the SSG is? So and then
I think that the SSG is either a bunch of human Marines or pacifistas that have been outfitted with Paramecia-style Logias from the top Marines. So I think we're going to see the same way that the pacifistas were outfitted with Kizaru's laser. We're going to see like this with Paramecia Magma and like stuff like that. Like they've taken some lineage factor from Sakazuki and some of the other Marines that we've seen, and there's just going to be a bunch of cloned devil fruits going around.
Is it possible that it's like not just a group, but it's like one particular thing?
I think it's like the. I mean, I think it's a group. I think it's going to be
most likely, but
I think it's going to be like what Kaido was trying to do with the gifters, but actually work.
Maybe because like for me, it's like there's always something that I found interesting about the whole Vegapunk situation, where it's like there's one thing that we've always kind of noted to when it comes to the science and humanity's failure, which is like the key thing here of everyone has always failed to create giants. Like everyone has always failed that. All right, Caesar Clown, Vegapunk, so on. And when I think about that idea, and I think about the opportunity that they had potentially with maybe the corpse of Little Oars Jr., I'm like, wait, like what can we do with this right here? Like it's in Marine Ford, it's here. All right, I think it was either like maybe like either like he was near death or he was already dead. I'm not too sure. And I feel like with that at their disposal, if you were to take that Little Oars Jr. and then have Vegapunk's tech in some way, shape, or form, including death augmentations with that, I'm like, yeah, this thing could like be the strongest thing on the planet potentially. It's like this could be disgusting if you want to use it, if it's actually even possible to use in some crazy way. Like Fujitora saw this, like, yeah, she's kind of like done. Like, what the hell? Are you serious? Nah, SSG is clean. So I'm like, okay, maybe it is a force But that's very similar to the Pacifista. It's like just buff the Pacifista. Just give them Akainu stuff, or give them like Green Bull stuff, like whatever it is. Buff those boys, make them more powerful, and SSG should be like the greatest technological feat we've ever seen in the series, potentially. That's what I'm hoping is going to be, but yeah, it could be a group. Fair enough, it could be.
But either way, the SSG has to be coming because in 985, Kaido, was
We're coming to our country? No. You think? Really?
Oh yeah. No, they're definitely. I think they're on that ship because look, if you go back to 985, there's so many things that were set up right there. Like when Kaido is talking about the new Onigashima project and all that, he specifically calls out SSG. Basically, he's like, the government has a force that thinks that they can take us down. So, and then now we have these world government ships coming too. The SSG's on those ships.
I don't know. It's a tough sell because it's like, because then we have this whole like, we should be getting to other islands real soon. If the SSG comes in, the SSG is this dominant force. I'm not because okay, maybe I guess we actually leave Wano country in the hands of our government at the end and we just dip. But I have my doubts now because I think that the samurai wouldn't want to serve the government at all. And I think, because I would like to see Wano country be like Luffy's first territory, like officially, boom, my territory.
I mean, that'd be great. At the same time, it's there's so many factors at play. There's just the panel of these ships coming opens up like the most wild doors possible for.
It does. But I would hope rather than Wano country, what we'd see is them actually be in Amazon Lily, or like at least have a flashback of that and seeing them in Amazon Lily.
Think about it this way, all right?
Yeah.
Government ships are coming to annex Wano.
Yeah.
These ships know Kaido is there, and that Big Mama's there. SSG are on that shit. On those.
Her ship is there too. The Chan ship is still there on like the not the waterfall. So, and they're not gonna leave that Big Mom. So they may actually.
That would be a great introduction for the SSG. Just if they ran into the Big Mama Chanter and then the SSG just fodderized the entire like Big Mom pirates.
Fodderized.
I mean, I'm just saying that would put them on the map.
Whoa, wait a minute. But Smoothie is like one of the ideally like just as strong as someone like Queen or King or all those. And you think it'd be fodderized? That's scary, Randy. That's a scary thought. You're scaring me, yo. You scare me, man. He's scaring me. Fodderized. Like crushed into oblivion. When they've been down so bad for the past like how many years now? That one ship has been down so bad.
Not just fodderized.
To use as the build up for the SSG, that would actually give her character purpose at this point.
Yo, Randy's mad disrespectful.
Not just fodderized, but fodderized off screen. Like off screen, like,
devastated. Can't handle someone flying Zoing and Yega's crushed off screen by a bunch of robots. Jeez, oh man.
Oh my god. Yo, I'm just thinking about it now. Holy
that's crazy.
Moly.
Yo, Randy's bloodthirsty, man. All right. All right, dog.
Any theories on your end, Joygirl, on what you think Vegapunk will do?
I mean, I've talked about it before as well. I think Vegapunk, I've always seen it more linked to Momo's character. I think it would be a nice sort of like callback moment when we see like Vegapunk arrive, sees Momo in disguise, sees like the success of his so-called failed experiment, and he's sort of watching Momo, the results of his experiment, similar to like a scene that we got in Punk Hazard where we see Momo like looking and just staring at Vegapunk's devil fruit at his experiment. But if we're looking into like the things with the SSG and everything, I would be inclined to say that I'd also be inclined to say that I think SSG could be coming to Wano. I think, and I always initially thought that it was going to be a group. I initially thought that it was going to be like I definitely think it has to be linked to the pacifistas, and I think I like the idea of sort of molding the devil fruits into it as well, and something that we've seen too, with the laser beams from Kizaru. And I initially thought that it's going to be like a pacifista that just regular Marines will be able to pilot, that regular sort of soldiers will be able to pilot, and then this way the Marines, even like the weakest of Marines, will sort of be like buff, powerhouses up in the battlefield. And so, because if the plan is for the SSG to
I'll
be
have
able
the
to take on the
jacket shirt now.
Yonko, yeah, it's sort of like, um,
No, she
and
wants a bunch of Gundam.
I was about to say, the entire time
She
she's
wants
saying, I'm
Gundam
thinking
pilots.
Gundam
Exactly,
pilots,
like, yeah, Gundam
Hero
pilots.
Yui, Gundam Wing Thug.
Domo Kashu, like,
You
let's get it,
please.
yo.
I'm here.
I'm not against it. I'm not.
It's a great idea, honestly.
Get it.
But if we're gonna also link it back to Sanji, seeing as this was a Sanji stream after all, because as we said, like the possibility of the world government coming to Wano just opens up so many different possibilities, really. Like there's just so many different ways that Oda could go with this. And if we're gonna go back to like a sort of a Sanji theory, I actually released a video last night sort of talking on this a little bit. But I said that this could be actually where we see Sanji's espionage side of him come out, where we have moments like the Gates of Justice, where we have a Sanji's solo mission where he's the only one able to do something. Maybe this is when we're going to see him use his raid suit, where he uses his invisibility to sneak on to like the world government ships, and causes like chaos there. Maybe
I
and
was
that's gonna
always,
be. Yeah,
I was
go
waiting
ahead.
for him to use his invisibility to like overhear a conversation from CP0. That's what I thought was going to happen earlier in the arc.
Yeah.
That could still maybe happen because there's still a lot of time, I guess, until they actually arrive, right? And then if the middle class could put up even like a modicum of fight, if we're gonna use Randy standards here, like a 5-minute fight against SSG, then we should have some time to at least peep on what they're doing, because right now they're just telling us what's going on in the battle, so they have to do something at some point. I'm just trying to figure out what that's gonna be per se. I just don't know.
It's potentially that they're the Kuma of this whole Thriller Bark situation.
Yeah, but I remember the last time we talked about before with the Reverie, where you like envisioned that Big Mom would be like the Kuma.
I still feel that like there's going to be a Kuma here, and I did entertain the idea that it could be also CP0, but I would prefer that it was that it was Big Mom.
Yeah, same here, because at this point in time, I'm not seeing. I mean, with the amount of time that we're focusing on Sanji and Zoro and now Luffy and Momonosuke and so on and Yamato, we're not even giving like Kid and Law any screen time per se. Like not that much. You think when it comes to another Yonko, which to me is like another good sign. Like Big Mom's not going down. It's not her time. No, another time.
Elbaf.
Yeah.
It's got to
Elbaf.
It's got to
Whole Cake Island.
See, the way that we're starting to wrap up and like sort of go full circle with like this Momonosuke and Vegapunk stuff with Punk Hazard, we're not actually doing that with Big Mom's arc yet, with
Right.
her identity, with everything that's going on. So that's why she's not going to fall here. Now we could get a situation, and I still feel this, where we think she's down, but then at the last minute she either like scoops up Robin's soul, Usopp's soul, something like that. Somebody in the crew's soul runs off with that, and then that's sort of a motivation point to go to the next island, to follow Big Mom, to do something like that. Something to move the plot forward beyond, oh wait, we have to go take down the world government, or we have to go to Laugh Tale, we have to do this thing real quick.
What about the idea, because they say it clearly, where okay, we're gonna go and get Robin. Some folks think it's going to happen. Other folks think it's not going to happen. I'm kind of swayed to where it's not going to happen, but I'm not against the idea, because I feel like at some point, I think it was said before at the end of Whole Cake Island, where they say the Grand Fleet is going to play a major role in some way, shape, or form, and then their name is going to be heard throughout the world. And I feel like what's going on with Sabo, and then maybe Robin getting captured, will government come into play, that may all coincide in a way where we actually go to the Red Line and raid it like Fisher Tiger did. But I'm not too sure if that's actually going to play out in that fashion. So, I mean, but either way, though, I feel like at the end of the damn day, the idea of us staying in Wano Country any longer, like for like a much longer period of time, I think it's not going to necessarily happen at this point. I think we have to kind of move on and then get to the good stuff, and then we have, Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, crew power-ups, and then we kind of just go from there, honestly, because it's time. Vegapunk's coming in, and it's time to get to, like, the final section, Elbaf. Maybe, we have all things happen, and that's it, honestly. Honestly, that's it.
So I don't think that...
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, going back to your point, Randy, about about like a Kuma moment coming in again, just because have been so many parallels to Thriller Bark between Thriller Bark to Wano. So many callback moments between Thriller Bark and Wano. Another one would actually be when Sanji also said that he's going to become the biggest headache the world government has seen. And that's why
there's going to
do
be an
see that
inversion
Sanji's
for
gonna-
that for sure. There's
Yeah,
going to be
I
an
think
inversion for
that's-
that. It may come down to a situation where it's Zoro and Sanji is the one that has his nothing happen moment. Now, I don't think that this is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen in this particular arc. But that moment, I feel, is absolutely going to come, and I'm worried as a Sanji stan, as a Sanji fan, that if anyone in the crew is going to that Oda would actually kill someone, I'm worried that it would actually be Sanji. Worried. I'm worried that he has that nothing happen when he has this amazing feat where he saves everybody, goes out a true hero. That's what Oda. There's a lot of foreshadowing in the story for it, more so than anyone else.
Usopp?
You go back
For Sanji's death, yeah, Usopp I think had more than that.
No. I'm gonna do a video on it at some point. There's a lot.
Guaranteed dislike from me. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen. I'm just saying that there's the foreshadowing for. I don't think I know that like Morge put out a video saying that Usopp's going to die or something. I never watched it, but I don't think that Usopp's ever going to die.
So the tale of Usopp and the Brave Warrior of the Sea seems like a better story if it's someone that's passed along, so no one can question it. In a sense, do you know what I mean? I feel like that would be epic because, say Usopp dies and then we go back to Syrup Village and oh god, what's her name? Starts with a C. The doctor Kaya. Kaya's reading the story of the brave tale of Usopp. To Salt and Pepper and whatever those little kids' names were. To me, that would just be so much more romantic. I think that'd just be a romantic story of Usopp dies in his bravest moment ever. Maybe he stands in front of Blackbeard or something, and Blackbeard kills Usopp like he killed Thatch, and then all of a sudden Luffy's
So here's the thing with that though, right? And I plan on even like talking about this eventually too. Is that I feel like Oda has come out and said that like Usopp is the character for the audience to relate to. That he is the person without powers. That he uses Usopp as a device for us to feel like all of these monsters that are around us and everything like that are real because Usopp is the one grounding it. So, in a sense, Usopp is the reader. Could be a little bit of Oda and all of that. I think that Sanji is more Oda than I think that Usopp factors into that. But I just don't see a scenario where Oda kills us.
But he would
You
kill
can say
himself.
that, I just don't see. I mean, actually, when you say it like that, that makes more sense. But I think for that same reason, I just don't see any Straw Hat dying. I just don't think it's very One Piece. It's not Oda at all. It's One Piece isn't
I don't think that it'll
serious
happen either. But if it's going to happen, it's just I also have this thing where I watch shows and then my favorite character always dies. So I would just sort of just assume that my favorite character.
Okay, so like the reason why I don't think it's gonna happen, like in a general sense, because I think that Sanji has to be the one to cook the feast of the All Blue, which will be like the planet itself per se, and then because I think that's part of like Luffy's final, like the last part of his dream, where come the end of it, I think it's gonna be like a final feast. It's gonna be a crazy dumb party, which is why like when Roger said to Whitebeard and Odin was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Roger's like, "You're such a kid." Roger's like, "No." White was like, "Yeah, you're such a child. What are you talking about?" I think like that's gonna be the whole thing where like you have like this crazy, gigantic feast, like a global party, massive rave, lights going everywhere, and so on.
Massive rave.
And then Sanji, and then a bunch of chefs all across the world are gonna be cooking food for all these people, and I think that's how it's gonna kind of play out in that sense. So, I mean, maybe Sanji does die, but at the same time, is it possible that he can be with Germa Tech resuscitated? Like, you're back? Welcome back, kid?
Bell, maybe?
Oh, hey, why not? It's One Piece.
Well, Sanji has the durability now. He could do a Pell. He could pull a Pell.
Because I figured like the characters to die would be either A, Brook come the end of the war, or B, Usopp, honestly. I never saw Sanji dying, but I'm curious. I'm gonna see that video. You're still gonna dislike Randy for sure, but I'm watching the video. Yeah.
It's on the docket. It's planned. It's planned.
Yo.
All right, so
6 hours?
6 hours.
On that,
I have to watch that.
The downfall of Sanji. Yeah.
Part 1.
Yeah. But on the point of Robin, like I think that there's going to be a fake out. I think that we're going to think that she's getting captured at some point. But that line that she had in Zoe is going to come back where she says, I've got strong friends that'll protect me.
Okay.
Protect her. We'll save her, right? Everything will be safe. But at some point, someone else is going to get her. Like, it's either going to be Blackbeard or Big Mom, but it's not going to be CP0.
But I think a lot of folks have the idea that Blackbeard, because he hasn't made any moves on her yet, that he has something else that's going for him. That he can read the poneglyphs, or like he's part soul thing. I think Ohara did a video on that one recently. I'm not too sure, I forget. But it's like he's like he has Rox's soul inside of him. Therefore, he can read the poneglyphs, and he doesn't need Robin. Or there's theories that are across the board. Yeah, there's a lot of theories about that, so I'm not too sure. And plus, there's also putting 2 in her third eye, which you would assume at one point comes into play if it's actually the case.
You would hope so. You'd really, really hope so. That would be very disappointing if that's not touched upon. But we are definitely a little bit over time, but great conversation, of course, guys. So thanks everyone for joining. So before we wrap up, I just wanted to give some last thoughts, any plugs that you guys have. You know, the floor is yours. So we can start off with JG. Any plugs, any last minute thoughts?
No, I mean, I guess if I was to go back to what to what we've been saying and to bring it back to the Sanji Summit, as Randy called it, and
that's
bringing back to the last point. Sanji, it is the Sanji Summit. I love it. The SS. Well, that's not actually, maybe not supposed to say that. But if we're also bringing it back to Robin as well, the fact that Sanji, if going back to the idea that I said about Sanji being the one to take on and do some sort of like, you know, secret Bond agent espionage moment, Sanji was also the only one not there at Zoe when Robin made that comment about having powerful friends who can protect her. Sanji was the only one obviously not there because he was on his Whole Cake Island mission. And it would, I think, just be fitting if Sanji was the one to actually protect her now. But if you open the floor up to me and say, you know, let me end on a thing, I just want to say, we're all Straw Hat stands here, and that includes Chopper, so no Chopper slander. It's enough of the Chopper slander, and that's what I'll end on.
You fight for your man, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you from fighting. I'll respect your wishes as best
to
as
each their own.
It's as best as I can. Yep. I'll do my very best. Randy.
I think one of the biggest things and the biggest criticisms that I've been seeing lately in the community about Sanji is that all of the power-ups that he's getting are discrediting everything else that he has done in the series, and people need to stop that. Stop that. Like, he was already a self-made man. He was already Blackleg Sanji. He was already doing things and achieved his own strength. Let him have this now. This is fine. It's nothing. It's just enhancing him. Great. It's greatness. All right. So I want to say thank you for allowing me to join the Sanji Summit. You know, we are all Sanji appreciators. Understand we all read the good book of Sanji here.
The good book.
Must be its name.
And so find me at Randy Troy. Anybody wants to support the Heat on Feet, come over here. I saw some people want me to play the song for the outro.
I can if you send me the link, I can end the stream with that outro. I can do that.
Send it.
Well, I was going to play it over the speakers, but I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah, so they can we won't get copyright strike. I hope not. I'll just play it.
No. It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Good.
Then I grab that.
I wanted your jumper. I wanted a hit on feet jumper, but you ran out of my size, Randy.
I'm gonna have to.
There's no like how many X's do they have that in there, Randy? How many X's? Like the X's.
That's between Spread Chop and you, but I think
I
think if you start going onto it, I mean they probably you figure it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out for sure. Absolutely.
All right, and Brother Cole.
All right, for me, I mean it's. Woo! Listen, it's been a great ride so far with the Sanji greatness. It is forever and always my more. Of course, we have to respect the Black Leg. We have to respect the Stealth Black. Right now, we have ourselves Exoskeleton Action, and then Sanji continues to be clearly a character that Oda cares about a lot. He's given him so much in the post time skip. Arguably speaking, the best written character in the series, arguably speaking. At least in the series, I'm with you. Yeah, there it is, man. And the fact that Oda can set up so much more to come in the future, like I just appreciate that, like as a Sanji fanboy, so much. And when I think about Sanji, people that don't necessarily like Sanji as a character because of their preference for their own characters or Sanji's perversions and so on and so forth, it's like everything has a root cause and everything, it does add up very nicely. And when you think about Oda giving Sanji this much love and how much more is to come, you can't but appreciate it. You really can't. So, I mean, after all, Sanji is Oda in some respects in the story. Even when it comes to Oda's weird CBT thing that's going on in the SBSs, even that's portrayed in the anime with Sanji in some capacity, which happened like in like one, like I think it was filler episode, no filler moment where Sanji he's seeing Shinobu do what she does, and then he's like, wait, no, I shouldn't because I can't. That's too dark for me. I can't go down there. I'm too young for that. It's like there's always something there that Oda and Toei put in for Sanji that kind of emulates Oda in some respects. So listen, for me personally, I can't complain. The Sanji greatness is forever and always. The Church of Sanji will not die. If Ray makes a video, I don't care. Just like that, because the Church of Sanji will not die, and it's only getting stronger, even in Wano country. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Amen.
Get it.
Amen.
I feel some righteous indignation from that speech.
Yes.
And just from me as a resident Sanji stan, I've been fighting the great fight for a long time. You've seen my escapades and my exploits. I've tried to reduce the toxicity to a certain degree. A lot of people didn't know the old JD. This is something you guys understand. The old JD, 100 sub JD, the toxicity was poison. It was terrible. I was just fighting Zoro stands left, right, and center because I wanted to defend my boy. Nowadays, I'm a little bit more calm or more reserved, a little bit more rational. But, with the latest chapter, it all came out again. Joygirl saw it. I lost my mind. I'm just talking about bring Mihawk here. Sanji versus Mihawk. Like, at this point, we're breaking swords. We're breaking swords, full swings from Queen hybrid form. Alleged strongest form of the Zoans. Kaido fights Luffy in hybrid form. People want to say, oh, he didn't use Haki. Like you said, if we're going to talk about Haki Masters, all right? If we're going to talk about Haki Masters, we're talking Armament Haki Masters are getting crushed by Anaconda Queen. Sanji gets up and is walking away and regenerating like nothing happened. You mean to tell me that we want to talk about him not using Armament Haki on the sword, but he's crushing Haki Masters already? Come on. It means nothing. It means nothing. I'm saying it right here. I'm going to say it right now. Sanji's Admiral level. That's it. That's just me. You think I'm wrong? I'll be proven right later on down the line. Also, I don't appreciate you calling me JD Rivers. Oh my God.
You're a bastard.
Yo,
that was funny as fuck.
Oh my God.
Listen, I'm sorry, yo, but with that video, come on. Like, you can't, when you rewatch that, you're like, hold up. Come on. Like, if Sanji's Ben Simmons, like, come on, yo.
I completely understood. I was laughing. I'm not going to lie. I was just upset. I'm thinking,
JD Rivers.
Because I just moved to Philly, too, so it's even more personal than before.
I missed that one.
Oh my god,
So for the guys in here, I don't know if you get the context, but I made a little skit pretending that Judge was the messed up NBA father, where he finds out his son got drafted first round, and all of a sudden he wants to be in his life. So when Judge realizes Sanji gets his exoskeleton, he's acting like, "Oh yeah, that's my son. I never abandoned him. That's all me."
Man. Yeah. Like, like, you know, he's German, and we support German. You know, like, he's one of us. He's our blood. I'm like,
we just needed to be patient. It was all about patience. I knew it was gonna come through.
Man, that was
never
great.
called him a failure. So,
oh my goodness, yo.
Yeah, but thanks guys for coming. Really appreciated it. Had a lot of fun, a lot of great discussions. Randy, I'm not looking forward to the Sanji Depth video, so expect some hateful comments from me.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm not looking forward to it
I'm
happening
looking
in the story
forward to
either.
Hey, yo, can you ban Joygirl?
Please. So see, she says she's a Straw Hat supporter. Oh, she loves the Straw Hats, but you're okay with Sanji dying. Interesting.
Hey, look, man, I'll allow for that one if there's a chopper dying.
I need to see it. I need to see it. I mean, I don't see any Straw Hat dying. I made that clear.
Where's the chopper death video?
That's what I'm about to say. If I made a chopper death video, would you watch it? Would you support it?
Oh, yo, I'll give you all 3 channels. Thumbs up.
I
will debunk it. I will debunk it.
Oh, response video from Joygirl. Why Chopper won't die. Fair enough. All right, everybody. Thanks. Appreciate the time you guys took out to join your boy in the Sanji Summit. I guarantee you this won't be the last time because there's more Sanji greatness to come.